All right, Uncle Kevin, talk to me about this. These doctors were demanding to be let in. The mainstream media is taking their side, but it seems to me they're overlooking the fact that the Border Patrol detention facilities are government-secured areas. You have to have a security clearance to go in there. They don't let every jack off the street go in.
Right, and nor should they, especially when they've got children that they're responsible for the moment, at least under their control. So this is strictly a cynical effort to build a narrative that will recruit mainstream media outlets to their side. And of course it's working, because in the era of Trump, what you do is you put the story up first, and then maybe you get around to apologizing later when you figure out that you've been had. But a lot of times you just don't, because it's much more important to get an anti-Trump or anti-Trump administration story out there on the wire or on the TV than it is to actually get to what the story is. And the story is, as you've told it, the story is that these are people who want open borders, who want to undermine the immigration law of the United States, and who will do whatever it takes to do that, including using children as pawns. And that's what they're doing here. Think about this. Would you allow somebody who would just use a child or a group of children for political purposes to get anywhere near those children when they're under government supervision? What would they do? What would they do to promote their story? What would happen to those kids if one of these open borders activists got to the kid? And what would the government be accused of later? It's breathtakingly cynical. And to some extent, I'm sure it's working for them.
Well, it's working for them because the mainstream media falls for it every single time. They want to push these stories, as you say. Any story that they think can hurt the president, can hurt the administration, they don't care if it also likewise hurts the migrants or would exploit and abuse the children as pawns in their political agenda. They don't care about this at all. They're happy to twist any story. This is based, by the way, on a tragedy. There was a teenaged boy, a child, who died in a Border Patrol facility from the flu. No one on God's green earth thinks that's anything other than a tragedy. When someone dies, especially when they're young, it is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that this child died. But the mainstream media and these protesters are trying to push this narrative that it was the negligence, the inhumanity of the Border Patrol which caused this death. There is no evidence whatsoever to show that that is true.
No, that's true. And the people who are in Border Patrol custody are safer than they've been on the rest of their journey, probably from Central America all the way through Mexico to the United States border. They've finally reached a position of relative safety far superior to anything that they've come through up until then. So this idea that the Border Patrol somehow makes them unsafe, or that Border Patrol negligence is causing people to lose their lives, it's just ridiculous.